Hello everyone, and welcome to another Saturday Tester. This Saturday's Tester is called Back to the Grind. Back to the Grind is a 35 minutes AMRAP. It begins with a 1,200 meter run. You're then going to perform 12 dumbbell burpee squat clean thrusters, followed by an 150 foot bear crawl. For those who are following the Gymnast program, you too are going to be doing Back to the Grind. However, there are some adjustments in your program based on equipment and space, of course. First and foremost, assuming you guys don't have dumbbells, you're going to perform 15 backpack squat clean thrusters. So the backpack will start on the floor. You'll perform a squat clean into a thruster. Of course, movement subs, as always. If you're confined to your house and you cannot run 1,200 meters, you will perform high knee running or single unders. We'll provide those options to you on What Up. If you don't have the space to bear crawl, you have the option to do wall walks. And if you have no wall, you're going to perform 25 bottom half kickback burpees. Again, a link will be provided to you on What Up. But of course, if you do have two dumbbells, we'd love for you to perform Back to the Grind as prescribed for our Live, Perform, Compete program. All right, so what are we testing in this workout? Well, as the name suggests, it's a grinder. It's 35 minutes, so it's a long aerobic piece. And the movement selection here is slow, grindy style movement. So what I mean by that is when you look at something like a dumbbell burpee squat clean thruster, really large range of motion, the time taken to complete each repetition is fairly long. Same goes for the backpack squat clean thruster. Of course, a bear crawl, if executed properly with your knees 1 to 2 inches from the floor, again, is going to be a slow, grindy type movement. And due to the nature of the slower, grindy style movements, expect to feel muscle endurance working as you work your way through this workout. Obviously in the running, very much lower body intensive, and then you move to the dumbbell and bag movements, big global style movements requiring your legs, your lower back, and your pressing muscles. And of course, the bear crawl is an isometric style movement where you're having to hold yourself with straight arms. You're going to feel it certainly through the triceps, anterior shoulder, pecs, and the lower body. In terms of pacing, we're really looking at starting at a smooth, sustainable pace, and as much as possible, looking to hold that pace for the majority of the 35-minute workout. The last thing we want to do is start a little bit too hot and be forced into rest as we move through this. If anything, we'd rather start a little bit more conservative and pick up speed as we go through the workout. The bear crawl is not a movement that we've tested at all in our Saturday testers. And so with this, we have implemented a movement standard. The movement standard is that your hips must stay level with the shoulders. And to help with this, try to keep your knees 2 inches from the floor at all times. So of course, for those of you who are doing this workout yourselves, you're going to have to be able to self-monitor as to whether or not you're hitting the movement standard correctly. What I will say is that not hitting it correctly, which probably means your hips are going to be too high and your knees too far away from the floor, is going to be a lot easier in terms of execution. So really try to hold yourself to high standards here. Building on those notes with regards to pacing, really important you think about a strategy before you start this workout. If we break down the 3 movements, we can manipulate pacing in a number of different ways. When it comes to run, we're not really looking to break up the run, or if you're doing a high knee or skipping variation, we're looking at a slow, methodical pace that you can maintain throughout this workout. With that said, if you are skipping, breaking your skips may be a good option because for most of us, manipulating skipping speed is quite hard. Moving to the next movement, this is a dumbbell burpee squat clean thruster or the bag squat clean thruster. Really here, we have a few options. We can definitely manipulate the speed. We've said that a shoulder to overhead variation of the dumbbell squat clean thruster must be performed. So you can't perform kind of a typical devil press where you're swinging the dumbbells through. So that's giving you a chance to pause with the dumbbells on your shoulders, but also giving you a chance to pause with the dumbbells overhead. And of course, a chance to pause the dumbbells on the floor. And for those doing the Gymnast program, the same principles apply. The bag can be rested on the floor, in our front rack position on our shoulders and over our head. For the bear crawl, we have a few options. First, we can manipulate the speed at which we move through it. So the faster we move, potentially the more we're going to jack up and increase heart rate. But of course, there's going to be less time under tension. If we slow the movement down, we're going to conserve heart rate and blood flow, but there will be more time under tension, which means you're probably going to feel a little bit more muscle endurance. We can also look to break up the bear crawl. So perhaps doing 25 foot, having a short break, 25 foot, having a short break, or doing something like 50 foot and then breaking. Of course, for those who are a little bit more enduring and comfortable with this movement, we can be moving through the 150 foot unbroken. So how does this fit with our current training cycle? Well, for those who follow the Live, Perform, Compete program, our last few Saturday testers have included moderate to heavier lows, and have been shorter and more intense in nature. So again, the purpose of these Saturday tests is to provide you guys with a bit more variance. So we're going longer and lighter this week. For those of you who follow our Gymless program, first and foremost, just want to explain these Saturday tests. It's something we do with all our online programs. Our Saturday is a chance to break away from the program a little bit, to provide people with a training stimulus that's a little bit different from what they're currently doing in their training cycle. It's also a fantastic opportunity for us to do things like film ourselves, create strategies, execute strategies, and review. Something that applies to everyone, regardless of which training track you're following, the Live, Perform, Compete, or Gymless program, is we want you guys to put your scores in. For those of you who've been following us for a while, you don't need reminding here. But for those of you who are new, we've had a big influx of new subscribers over the last week with the Gymless program. Remember that the program is designed based upon the feedback from you guys. So the more information you guys can put into the system, the more we can adjust and manipulate our training program next week to give you guys something appropriate. Team, last one from me, have fun with this workout. Don't forget to log your scores. And as always, tag us in your videos and photos that you put on social media at The Process Programming. We want to share your journey, and let's continue to fight through these hard times together.